Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoot, back with the Santa Smackdown tournament. And if you've been following along, we had our pool play. It's all been uploaded, game by game, all four of them, where we managed to go 4-0 actually, with a 8+ differential, and we got our way into the brackets here. So our first match is against Specs My Enjoyer, who is actually from the same draft pool as us. He had the 11th pick, and we had the 16th pick. Anyways, his first pick was actually Mega Venusaur, followed by Heatran, Hippowdon, Z Gyarados, Kartana, Fortress, and the Gothitelle. And our squad, hasn't changed. Megazord X, Clefable, Gliscor, and Apollyon. The Mienshao that we don't bring, which is our Z-move user. Decidueye, and then the Galvantula, which didn't come, and the Ditto, which we did bring. Our opponent didn't bring the Kartana, which is pretty nice. It makes sense too, since we did have Zardex and then Apollyon, Ditto, and Decidueye, so on and so forth. So looking at team matchup here, I felt like I could take a pretty decent, balanced approach. I felt like Charizard was really nice in the matchup. Dragonance 2 attacks, and Roost was a really solid bring versus him. I thought about Will-O-Wisp for the Hippo. Couldn't Will-O-Wisp that and Roost up on it and set up on it, but needed both of my move slots, so that was something to consider because of the Heatran. I need to be able to hit it with Dragon Claw. I know Earthquake's obviously more optimal, but I think I will be able to chip it down into Dragon Claw, or at least lure it in with something. I got a couple good lures on the team, so that's something to think about. Dragon Claw also hits Gyarados harder, which is really nice. That thing can be a threat. And it's actually one of the most threatening mons on his squad offensively, along with Kartana, and I guess Heatran and Gothitelle can be semi-offensive. But yeah, Gyarados and Kartana are the two huge threats, and we've got a Charizard. I'll drop the Pokepaste squad. Drop my squad in a Pokepaste down below in the description. But I'll talk about my squad as well. We have a Impish Charizard here with 132 EVs in defense, 104 EVs in HP, 64 in attack, and 208 in speed. So this allows us to outpace Gyarados prior to a Dragonance. This also allows us to take a Kartana can't 2-hit KOs with nothing after Stealth Rocks. Also, if Kartana was to go for Swords Dance into like Knockoff or Leaf Blade or Smart Strike or Sacred Sword can't knock us out either. So that's pretty nice. So this Charizard is pretty bulky, but it is a Dragon Dance variant with Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, and Roost for longevity. It's a pretty solid mon in the matchup. I think it can do a lot of work if we can weaken the Heatran and the Gyarados, and maybe chip the Hippo a little bit. One Dragon Dance up, and Charizard should go pretty ham. Next up, we've got Clefable, which we brought a Babiri Berry variant so that we could lure the Kartana as well as the Heatran. Because Heatran, with just like Magma Storm or Lava Plume, don't really threaten us too much. We have Moonblast and Flamethrower. Moonblast hits the majority of his squad outside. Moonblast hits everything. Okay, I have coverage for everything outside of Mega Venusaur. Moonblast hits the majority of his squad. Flamethrower is there for the Fortress and the Kartana, and then Hidden Power Ground is there for the Heatran, and then our last move is Moonlight. So we've got enough EVs in defense and HP so that we can survive a Waterfall into Supersonic Sky Strike from Gyarados. We are unaware, so its boosts do not matter. We don't have leftovers, which is kind of problematic. So, and we're running through attack, so we can't run Wish Protect. So Moonlight's the recovery of choice. We have enough speed investment to potentially speed creep things like Hippo that might be trying to speed creep Clefable. So that's pretty interesting. And like I mentioned, the unaware ability. So next up we have Gliscor. Gliscor is a taunting variant with Earthquake and Roost for pretty much general coverage versus his whole squad. He has nothing that resists, and then I've got the Thunder Fang for his only immunity, which is Gyarados, so that's pretty solid. Can pretty much roost up on his entire squad. I've got enough defense to not be 2-hit KO'd by Kartana, and I've got enough speed to outpace Gyarados, so I can actually Thunder Fang it before it can click Waterfall, before it can click Dragon Dance or anything like that, and potentially get some big damage off on it. And if it's already chipped, then Thunder Fang's got a decent chance to knock it out, depending on its investment and whether or not it's intimidated or not. Solid Check can switch in on Hippowdon pretty comfortably. Doesn't fear like Toxic because we have Poison Heal. Can switch in on Heatran pretty comfortably. Not as comfortable as I'd like, but can to an extent. And I do have Ditto in the back, so that's something else that Heatran has to think about. Next up, we've got Empoleon, which is a Leftovers variant with the Torrent ability. This is our designated Stealth Rocker with Scald and Hidden Power Electric. We have no way to hit Mega Venusaur unless we brought like Flash Cannon or something, but I felt like it wasn't really useful. I felt like Substitute could be very useful, and I felt like we had enough on our squad to deal with Mega Venusaur pretty comfortably. I do have another lure for Mega Venusaur specifically, so that the rest of my squad can, handle his squad pretty well. So having Sub on there is pretty nice. I think Gliscor with Taunt can maybe 1v1 in Mega Venusaur. Having my Ditto turning into a Mega Venusaur itself could be problematic for Venusaur. So I don't think running Flash Cannon over Substitute would have been too big of a difference here. And we've got quite a bit of defense investment so that Kartana's Leaf Blade can't 2-hit KOS. We can also take a +1 Earthquake from Gyarados after Stealth Rocks pretty comfortably. We have the same speed investment as Clefable, just so that I know if Clefable outspeeds something, I know Empoleon will. If Empoleon does, then I know Clefable will, so on and so forth. Next up, we have a Decidueye. Now, Decidueye here is a Leftovers variant, but it is a Swords Dancing variant with Roost, Spirit Shackle, and Brave Bird. So he has no resist to Ghost types, and his only Pokemon that would be able to take a hit is the Venusaur. So I've got the Brave Bird there to be able to break that thing down in at least 2 hits. After a Swords Dance, I do have enough EVs to make sure that it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO no matter his spread with max HP. So this thing's pretty bulky as well, and after a Swords Dance, or maybe 2 Swords Dances, it can be very, very threatening to my opponent. And Spirit Shackle is really nice too, because if he switches in something like Heatran, I know he can't double, and I can switch accordingly. If he switches into Mega Venusaur, I know he can't double, and I can like Swords Dance up and then Brave Bird, and so on and so forth. He could have knockoffs, but we'll see. Anyways, our last Pokemon, definitely not least though, is our max HP Ditto with the Shuca Berry. So I've got the Shuca Berry there, and I've got EVs for Hidden Power Fire, in case I am like a Mega Venusaur, and he's got like Kartana in or something, and I can click Hidden Power Fire and knock it out, or some other scenarios as well. But yeah, I do have EVs for Hidden Power Fire. We are also, like I mentioned, Shuca Berry, because if we match up against Heatran, and he's got the Earth Power for our own potential Heatran, then our Shuca Berry will pop, and we'll be able to click Earth Power versus his own Heatran and potentially knock it out. So that was the idea behind the squad. And looking at Team Preview, he brings 3 potential Stealth Rockers in Heatran, Hippo, and the Foragers. I think Heatran's going to be more offensive because of Hippo and Fortress being here. I think it gives Heatran more options. Hippowdon can run Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Toxic, and Slack Off. And this is a pretty good set versus my squad. Or he could run like Roar on it, or Whirlwind potentially. I definitely think Hippo's going to be a Stealth Rocker though. I think Fortress could actually be a Hazard Stacker as well with Spikes or Toxic Spikes, or potentially both. However, I do have, ways around that. I don't bring it, but I do have ways around it. I have actually 4 potential Defoggers on the squad that I bring, not counting Ditto transforming into something and removing hazards. So, yeah, I felt like one of those 3 months were his best leads. I felt like Gliscor matched up well against all of those, and judging by his lead, I think he knew that too, because he's actually going to lead with his Gyarados as we lead off with our Gliscor here. So what I don't want to happen, I don't want to take a Waterfall to the face immediately, because this thing is so good in the rest of the matchup that it's really it's almost unbearable. It's insane, really. So I'm not gonna let this thing take damage yet. I'm not gonna try to click Thunderfang and see how much it does yet, even though there's no Intimidate. I'm gonna hard switch into my Empoleon. I do have Hidden Power Electric, so what I'm gonna do here is go straight into this thing, click the Hidden Power Electric, see how much Gyarados does to me. I know I'm gonna live an Earthquake. And yeah, so now I can switch out into Clefable. So I'm in an unaware Clefable, and I am EV'd specifically to live Waterfall into Supersonic Sky Strike, and then Moonlight up. That was the plan there. As long as I don't get flinched, I should be able to Moonlight back up to full, relatively close at least, and then throw off a Moonlight after taking roughly 40%. So I should end up at around 60% with a knocked out Gyarados. However, my opponent is going to switch out to the Gothitelle here, as I do go for Moonblast finally. And that did quite a lot, and I didn't notice at first, but that's actually a crit. And so, like, I was just like, I could just click Moonblast again here, and it does significantly less. So I looked back at the last one, and it was a crit, and I was like, damn. However, he does go for Taunt, preventing me from setting up Stealth Rocks or anything like that. So I'm just going to spam Moonblast here. I'm just going to continuously spam Moonblast. I do have 3 attacks, so I will be fine in that regard. And he's going to go out into his Heat Rain here. Takes the Moonblast pretty comfortably. And I'm going to stay in here and go for the Hidden Power Ground, because it opens up Hose for Decidueye, it opens up Hose for my Ditto, and it opens up Hose for my Charizard, which has 2 attacks, which Heat Rain is immune to 1 and resist the other. So I'm going to get some nice chip off here. I'm going to take the Fire Blast and go for the Hidden Power Ground, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage. And now, seeing that he goes for the Hidden Power the Fire Blast, and it was so it did so much damage to my Clefable, I know he's offensive and more than likely like a choice variant. So I'm going to go out into my Heat Rain here and get my Ditto, become Heat Rain and get the Flash Fire boost. Then what I'm going to do is double out into my Gliscor, predicting his Earth Power, just to scout and see what set he was. If he went for Earth Power there, then I assume that he would be Shuka Berry as well, and then I can pop his Shuka with my Gliscor and then revenge him, or 2-hit KO him with Gliscor, or revenge him with something else. So yeah. However, he does go into his Gyarados, and I click Thunderfang and knock it out. And here I'm just going to click Taunt. I don't want Mega Venusaur to get any Leech Seeds off whatsoever. I'm just going to taunt this thing and spam Earthquake. It's my best play by far, I believe, at this point in the matchup. We do have a Gyarados which is gone. Gothitelle is put to sleep, and Heat Rain is weakened significantly. So we're getting in a position where Charizard, once it comes in, it can click Dragon Dance and then start going ham pretty much. So he does start switching out quite a bit here, trying to get Stealth Rocks up with 2 different options, as I continuously taunt him and then spam Earthquake the following turn. However, I do always click Taunt first, because I don't want him to get Stealth Rocks up. Charizard does not appreciate Stealth Rocks, and like I mentioned, despite having 5 potential hazard removers on my squad, I don't have any on this squad. So just going to continuously taunt this thing, taunt. That's the reason I brought Gliscor and no removal, is because I have taunt. I'm just going to taunt everything. As long as I keep taunting, they can't recover, they can't get rocks up or anything like that. And I'm going to go into Empoleon here, predicting him to go for the Ice Fang, or maybe switch out to Heat Rain or Fortress or something. Well, maybe not Heat Rain, because I could have been clicking Earthquake, but maybe going back into the Fortress there. So I went straight into my Empoleon there, but he goes for Earthquake, and I have no idea why, because Gliscor is immune to that. And what I'm going to do is go hard into my Decidueye after my Empoleon goes down. So I have a Empoleon in against Hippo, so I know he's going to switch out. He doesn't want that thing to get weakened, because Charizard becomes a huge threat at that point. So I'm going to go straight for the Swords Dance. Hopefully the Mega Venusaur comes in. It does, and I click the Brave Bird, rendering it down to 6%. And here he gets the poison. Otherwise, I would have just roosted up. Had he not gotten the poison there, I would have just roosted up, and I would have been at a significant amount of HP. I could have won that war there, as long as I don't get, poison. Anyways, I'm going to hard switch out into my Gliscor here, and my opponent makes a Savage read and goes for the hidden power, I'm assuming Ice. And I'm going to go out to Ditto here and kind of scout his set. I'm going to go for the Flash Cannon, predicting him to go into the Hippo, not wanting to reveal that I'm not Scarf yet. I wanted him to think, you know, hey, why is he going for Flash Cannon? He must have predicted my Hippo. So here what I'm going to do is reveal it. I'm going to go ahead and go for that Fire Blast here. Knock out the Fortress, and I swing momentum big time in my favor as my opponent brings in his own Heat Ram. Mind you, I am Shookaberry, so I'm going to stay in and just click Earth Power, because at this range, even if he is Shookaberry, he shouldn't be knocked out. Considering how offensive his Heat Ran is, my Ditto Heat Ran is now as offensive. So I stay in here, and he goes for the Fire Blast, and I get the Flash Fire boost, and I'm able to knock this thing out with the Earth Power. And now I should be able to knock Hippo out with a modest Flash Fire boosted Fire Blast, and I am. And now Gothitelle goes down to a crit, and now Gothitelle could have went for basically anything there. After the Fire Blast landed, I would have started spamming Flash Cannon. Had it not knocked out without the crit there, but I don't think the crit mattered. Anyways, that's going to be game. Nice 37 turn battle there, and we get a nice 4-0 victory. So continuing our win streak from the pool play, we do pick up a win here in the first round of brackets, round 32. We're moving to the top 16 now, where we will be facing off against Eschen, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's who we're going to be playing. The top 16 looks pretty solid. We got some pretty solid battlers in there, I know. So that's going to be fun. Now, let me know what you thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.